Okay, Dan, so moving into the bunker now. Obviously with the high toe 4, we've got that full face of grooves, inspires a bit of confidence. But when we actually get in the bunker here, what's, around your kind of coaching principles, what really is helping you from the sand?
Well, the main thing in the bunker is, again, it's reading the lie, because you can get different sand depths, which is really important. But assuming we've got a nice standard depth of sand, it is about understanding how you use the bounce through the sand, because this is ultimately why Gene Sarrazin all those years ago designed the sand wedge, was just to have that larger camber on the back. So as the back of the bounce, the back of the sole there hits the sand, it carries through, the sand explodes the ball out, and making it some nice soft bunker shots. I mean, the biggest fault in bunker play I see is basically the player would drive way too much this way, the hands would lead too much, and the leading edge would get caught, and the player would play a shot looking a little bit more like that. So if anyone recognises that, that's where the bounce isn't working effectively. So really it's just making sure you skip the sand correctly, and this is the beauty of the sand wedge and the high toes here, that this has got 10 degrees of bounce, so we've got plenty of height there at the back, so I know I can strike the sand there before the ball and let the wedge carry on through there, because you have to make sure you're moving the sand with a little bit of speed. As soon as you hit the sand, it will slow the club head down, so we've got to keep the movement and speed through the club head, and that's the bounce going to work and skip.
And there's a couple of different ways that players can play bunker shots, and different ways that players are taught to play bunker shots as well.
Sure.
Obviously standing very open and cutting across it, or standing closed and using the bounce more effectively. Talk about how that may affect strike location, and maybe actually utilising more of those toe-sided grooves.
Yeah, sure. So the way I really teach short bunker shots is really trying to come in squarer. I think that's the most effective way to play bunker shots. You simply don't need to hit it as hard. So if you're coming in super square into it and the sand is working forward, you don't need to hit it that hard. You can see how the divot there has gone absolutely to the target. When you start standing excessively open, you've got to hit it around about 3 times harder, because the sand is working in the wrong direction. The ball doesn't have enough purchase on it, so cut across it too much, you've got to hit it much harder. Okay, and then it will land and it will tend to spin to the right as well. So it's very difficult to hold bunker shots when you're moving a long way across it. But if you are a player that swings across it, and listen, I always think you've got to do what works for you. If you're a player that's been cutting across the ball for 40 years and you're a good bunker player, this sort of wedge will be fantastic, because you're going to hit a lot of toe strikes with the ball working diagonally across the face. And sometimes as well, I will play that shot. Let's say I am short-sided. Let's say I'm going for this one that is literally just 4 yards over the lip there. Well, just working a little bit more open and cutting across it can help you spin it a little bit more. Okay, and you can get that sort of softer shot. So again, it gives you a lot more versatility, although I'd always prefer to come in square if I've got that 20-yard shot. If I've got maybe a plugged lie as well, let's say it's sitting down, I would open the face here, get the hands quite low and swing across, and again that ball's going to work across the face more. So I've got the versatility there. With the grooves, you can see that spinning a little bit more to the right, and it's working more this way across the face. So although I like to play it square, I've got the option with the high toe to come across it and hit slices if I need to, if the lie dictates.
Yeah, fantastic. And talk about different sand conditions as well. So bunkers, different courses will change. Sometimes you get quite a tough, relatively firm lie from the sand, and then other times you might actually find that you can really dig your feet in and see that sand coming up over the top of your shoes. And when do you think that those different conditions are really, how are they affecting the golf shot?
Yeah, so again, it all comes back to the IQ of the player to make sure you can read the lie. Like I hit a couple of nice bunker shots there, but if this lie here, I'm just kicking some of the sand out of the way to try and get it playing pretty firm. The rain can do that. The rain can compact the sand. Some bunkers just don't have as much sand in for whatever reason. So if I've got a lie like that and I don't change anything, I just do my normal technique, which is with the shaft neutral there with the club releasing, you can see what's happened there as I've thinned the ball. So that was an example of like 10 out of 10 technique, but like my IQ was 1 out of 10, like I didn't adapt for the lie. So to answer your question, when it's sitting down more, you have to get steeper into it. And because it's sitting down, it's a good idea to swing a little bit more across it. So again, you're getting the benefit of the grooves on the toe there. So you have to lean the shaft forward, take some of that bounce off now. And again, with the way in which a lot of these the grinds, which we'll get into it later, it actually sort of cambers down towards the front there. You can open it up, pull the handle back, and you can put more bounce on. But for this lie, bounce isn't my friend. So I'm going to get the handle forward, and I'm going to come down a little bit steeper using a little bit more leading edge behind it, and you'll see how now I can still play, you know, a nice strike, nice bunker shot, but you can see how the divot depth has got a little bit deeper, and that's how you deal with those tight lies, using more the front section of the bounce as opposed to
that leading
the back.
edge is allowing you to actually take some sand as opposed to the wedge just you know, fully bouncing up there and catching that ball
exactly,
thin.
because bunker shots are all about how you work the sand. If it's a nice fluffy lie, I want to work the sand with a very level divot. I want my depth to divot to be the same from the front to the back. If I use that depth there on a tight lie, I will thin the ball. So my divot on this lie here needs to be getting deeper as it gets longer. So where the bounce helps me when there's lots of sand, it hinders me when there is less sand. So it's just about understanding how you can use either the front or the back part of the bounce. Begins by having the IQ reading the lie, but obviously it does help you got the right tool in your hand as well.